Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is having a good Friday. So tonight, the Bachelor recap is going to be about the last two episodes since I missed recapping last weekend due to being in Colorado. So this one might be a little bit longer. I'll try and shorten it a little bit, but I don't want to leave out any details because there was a lot that happened on the last two episodes of The Bachelor. So we'll start with not Monday's episode, but the Monday before. Matt had Bree, Michelle, and Rachel left, and it was the fantasy suites. So they had to go on a date with Matt, and then they had the option to decide if they want to do fantasy suite. And that was just another layer to have them get more personal time with him, to have more of those personal and intimate conversations, and just to get to know each one-on-one more better. So the first person that was that got a fantasy suite date was Michelle. They can't remember what their date was. Sorry, it's been a while. They ended up having a good time. Michelle decided to go to the fantasy suite. He actually told her that he loved her for the first time. And so all at this point of time in the season, it was kind of pointing more favoritism towards Michelle. And they hit it off. They had a good time. And then the next person was Bree. And he decided to do like a mini camping date with her. They went to the woods, they went hiking, they did some camping stuff. And you could kind of feel their vibe. Like they weren't really connecting on the level that he wanted to. And so you can kind of tell that he was a little distanced, didn't know what to really think about that date. Hey, Rosalie. He decided to give her the fantasy suite option. She took it, and so they have the fantasy suite as well. And then during this whole time, as Rachel's seeing Michelle and Bree getting their dates first, she starts to kind of lose her crap during all of it. She gets very emotional. She starts getting conflicted with her feelings. She doesn't know if he still wants to be with her. Having all those negative thoughts about the whole situation. And at one point during all this, you kind of get the vibe that she wants to leave. Like she is going to pack her bags and just leaves. And that kind of puts you on the edge because you don't want people just to leave until they actually are able to have that conversation with the person that they're trying to spend the rest of their lives with, right? So you kind of see her struggle, and you kind of see a totally different side of Rachel in the episode of the fantasy suites. After Bree comes back, it's Rachel's turn. Rachel goes, and you can tell when she's walking up to Matt that, she's still uncomfortable. She doesn't know how to confront this issue. So I have a huge glare, right? She doesn't know how to confront the issue with how she's feeling, but she knows that she needs to be open about it. In order for a relationship to grow and be stronger, you have to be able to have those hard conversations. And so Matt decides in their date that he is going to take her to a pottery class, and they start trying to do some pottery. And you can tell that the vibe is just completely off because she wants to talk to him. She knows she needs to talk to him. And he finally catches the drift of what's going on. And she stops in the middle of it and says, I really want to talk to you about my feelings, what I've been going through. I feel like, we're at that point in our relationship that I should be able to just be open and let you know what's going on. And so they have that conversation. And it's actually lighten the mood. She got her clarification. He was happy that she was open with him, able to express her feelings, and they hit it off, had a good time during their date. And then, of course, fantasy suite comes, and she ends up going to the fantasy suite. So all 3 girls were able to go to the fantasy suite. So after all 3 of them had their dates, went to fantasy suite, of course, here comes eliminations. I've always been very honest and open throughout these recaps that Rachel is my girl. I've always wanted Rachel to, get it at the end. Okay, I'm going to pause real fast. I want to say my shout outs. Hey, Rosalie. Hey, Loco. Hello, Amber. Hello, Susan. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I kind of just went into it. Glad you all are here hearing this. Like I was saying in the beginning of the live, I'm sorry I didn't do my recap last week. If you follow me in Discord or you talk to me on personally or message me or whatnot throughout last week, I had a funeral, so I was out of town. And I didn't get home till Monday, and I was too busy to sit there and do recap on Sunday. So I'm recapping 2 episodes in one, this one. And so this is the second to the last one before he makes his decision. So after all the girls have their fantasy suites and their dates, of course, you have to eliminate. And so they go to elimination. I'm trying to think if I'm doing this right. Sorry. So they go to elimination and, excuse me. They go to elimination and, you kind of go through that whole episode and you kind of just really recap on their connection, how they're feeling, who's vibing, who's not. And I automatically knew it was going to be Brie. And so they get there. He of course picks Michelle, and he picks Rachel, and he eliminates Brie. The second to the last episode. Wasn't kind of a shocker if you watch that episode. It's just you kind of watch the vibes, you kind of see what's flowing, their conversations, because at this point it's the second to the last episode before he has to pick and decide who he wants to propose to. So it's a little bit more serious now. So Brie goes home, and then what happened on Monday? So spoiler alert before, and if you haven't watched it, spoiler alert, I'm going to say it again, spoil alert. So I actually watched Bachelor on Tuesday. So we watched it Wednesday. So 2 days after it came out, due to me traveling back home. And let me tell you, the last episode of The Bachelor was very nerve-wracking and very suspenseful, like all the other ones. But this one, I mean, you're so excited to see who he gets, and there's so much stuff that happens in this last episode. Okay, let me go back. So the second to last episode as well, Matt has no, is it this one? No, it's this one. No, last episode he ended up having a conversation with his dad too. He wanted to clarify his relationship with his dad and stuff in the second to last episode. And so that conversation gave him more clarity on who he wants to be when he's a husband, a father. So it's kind of good to kind of see them kind of recap and rehash some old feelings during their falling out when he was a child. So back to last episode. So this last episode, of course, he has his final 2. So his final 2 is Michelle and Rachel. And of course, I'm Team Michelle. So I'm going for Michelle. Or not Michelle. I'm Team Rachel. I apologize. I'm Team Rachel. So I'm just like, Michelle's going to get it. Rachel's going to get it. Rachel's going to get it. And so it starts off just like all the other ones. This episode, the 2 girls actually get to meet his mom and his brother. Michelle is the first one to go. She goes and meets his mom and his brother. They have a really good conversation. His mom is like really appeased by her, loves her enthusiasm, loves her heart, loves her character, like loves everything about her. And then Matt lets her go. And then, of course, it's Rachel's turn. Same thing. His mom likes, loves her, likes their conversation. They're connecting. So his mom and brother don't have anything bad to say about the two girls. They just want him to make sure that he is making the right decision. He's not going to do something that he will regret later on. And so him and his mom have a conversation after his mom and his brother meet Michelle and Rachel. And it kind of just messes his head up completely. He starts questioning if he really wants to get engaged. He starts questioning, is he really in love with these women? Just kind of throws a huge curveball in there. And as you're watching this, you're realizing what's happening. You're realizing that maybe it's going to end now. Like you keep questioning, like, are they just going to pull the plug? Are they just not even going to announce anyone that he wants to be with? Or is he going to propose? So you have all these questions going through your mind until you finally know what happens. And so he gets one last night with both the women. The day before he is going to, propose, make his decision. He meets with Michelle, and he even says, there's still something not vibing right with them. There's still something off, he feels. He just has some questions, what's going on with his brain. He's just unsure about Michelle right now. So he goes to her room. They start their date off. She ends up giving him a couple presents. The presents are jerseys. One says, one on the back says Mr. James, and then the other jersey says Mrs. James. And that is when he realized that he did not want to marry Michelle. And so he had to make a hard decision and be honest and open with her and explain to her that he just doesn't see himself marrying her, that she's still a great woman. He has feelings for her, but he's not in love with her. So that was kind of crazy, because if you watch this season as well, it's kind of been this way on the last couple episodes, or the last, I would say 3 to 4 episodes. It's always he stops right in the middle of a date, or doesn't wait till elimination. He just goes with his gut, goes with his heart, and explains to these women, it's not going to work out. I don't see it. I'm not in love with you. I don't want to keep dragging you along through this process. I feel like we just need to end it here. And so that's what he did with Michelle. He ended up ending it with her. And she goes home and is, of course, devastated. I mean, they're at the end of this process. It's only 2 women, and she's completely heartbroken. And so, of course, now you're questioning, yes, Rachel is the last one, but since he's already having these conflicted feelings, is he in love with Rachel? Is he going to be able to propose to Rachel? Is he going to be able to move forward in that next step with Rachel? And so the next day comes. That whole night after he left Michelle, he was distraught, confused, angry, had so much emotions running through him. He told Chris Harrison that he needed some time. He didn't know what he was going to do. And so that's what he did. So the next day he wakes up and he decides, and it was supposed to be Rachel's time to have her last date with him. And he decides that he still needs more time. He doesn't want to have the date with Rachel. And so here we go again. Rachel is having this conflicted feelings, doesn't understand what's going on, doesn't know where his head's at, is just super scared and anxious. And I mean, who wouldn't be? You're at the end of this and you're being told that the person that you can potentially be spending the rest of your life with just needs a break. And so it does get scary. During that time, Matt actually met with Neil. So if you watch Bachelor a lot, Neil is the ring guy. He's the guy that brings the ring at the very end of the Bachelor and Bachelorette. So he ends up sitting down with Neil, and he is very hesitant at this point. He even says in this episode, he's like, I need to go look at these rings because I need to figure out if this is something I want to do. And so he does. So he goes and he meets with Neil, picks out a gorgeous pear-shaped ring, so amazing. And he asked Neil if he can just hold on to it. He didn't clarify if he was going to propose. He wasn't clarifying if he wasn't. Neil knew that there was only one person left, which was Rachel. So Matt got the ring. And so the next day comes, and of course, tensions are high, nerves are high. Everyone that's watching Bachelor, we're all confused. We don't know what's going to happen. And so Rachel comes down to where Matt is, and Rachel just opens up the floodgates to her heart and explains, she loves him. She can see him having his children, marrying him, starting a life with him. She doesn't see anyone else. And Matt says the same thing, I can see that as well. But it goes for a curveball. He didn't propose to her. He told her that he wanted to still be with her. He just felt it was too soon to propose to her, and that he wanted to still have a relationship with her and continue the journey outside of The Bachelor and see where it goes. And so he didn't propose to anyone, but he decided to be with Rachel. And so if everyone watches The Bachelor as well, or The Bachelorette, at the very end, they always do a final rose ceremony. So, of course, after that happened and ended, the final rose ceremony happens. Chris Harrison was not hosting. If you have been reading the tabloids and news reports, there was an incident that happened with Rachel, saying she's racist because she was involved in an antebellum party, and became this whole controversial topic. And it happened right at the end, or like middle of Bachelor, and Chris Harrison decided to stand up for her, but his words weren't right, and so he took a break. And so what is his name? He's a football player now, but he was the host. I can't think of his name right now. Does the final rose, and Matt comes out, and they start having the serious conversations about who he picked and if they were still together, and what has been going on since the whole controversial topic happened. How has it affected him? How has it affected his relationship with Rachel? All this stuff that you don't want to have to deal with after something so great happened. And let me just clarify: Rachel was 18 when this happened, and she's 24 now. I'm against racism. But there's always a black and white line when it comes to topics. And so I feel like things probably could have been handled a little bit differently. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We don't usually know what to say at the right time sometimes. So I feel like this is one of those topics where it kind of happened. So Matt comes in, lays it at him. So are you and Rachel together? And Matt's like, no, we're not together. And what is his name? I can't think of his name. I apologize, guys. Asked him, was it due to the controversial topic, the situation that's going on around online? And he said yes. And it's because he feels like she deserves to deal with it by herself and fix herself and figure out how to work on herself. Which, if you're in a relationship with someone, no one's perfect. And if you make a mistake, I don't feel like you should be dumped for it. I understand why this controversial topic is so hard for Matt because he is an African-American male, and the whole thing stemmed off of the South and plantations and all this other crap. And it's just really hard to see that, he already made a decision not to propose to her. He just wanted to keep a relationship. And then he decided to end this relationship because cards weren't in his favor. And that's how I feel. My opinion only. I mean, if you guys watch it, you have your own opinions as well. And then Rachel comes out. They talk about it. And I feel like during their conversation, honestly really didn't get anywhere. It was just more of kind of a back and forth game. Him not understanding why she couldn't put herself in his shoes and why he couldn't put himself in her shoes. So it's kind of a mess. It didn't really go any far. They just decided that, they still love each other, but they can't be together due to all the animosity and all the crap that's going on about that situation. And then that was about it. If you also watch the final rose ceremony, they always announce the next bachelor or bachelorette. And so it's going to be bachelorette since we did bachelor. And that kind of took me on a curve ball as well. Wasn't expecting what they were going to say. So another spoiler before you listen, they're actually going to have 2 bachelor or bachelorettes this season. One's going to be in the summer and one's going to be in the fall. I believe, so the 2 bachelorettes is Katie and Michelle. So they are from Matt's season. And Michelle is who he was pretty close to proposing to. And Katie was, I think she made it to the top 5 or something like that. So Katie's season will be in the summer, and Michelle's season will be in the fall. So I'm pretty excited to see these women because they were also, Michelle wasn't my favorite, but I liked Michelle. But Katie was my, so if you watch The Bachelor, my top was Abigail, but she got booted right away. Well, not right away, like top 5, I believe so too. So we went Abigail, Rachel, and then Katie. And so one of my top 3 that I like is going to be the next Bachelorette. And so I'm pretty excited. So I don't know if I'm going to continue to do recaps on it. I kind of like doing it because I feel like the Bachelor and the Bachelorette are trying to revamp and redefine their meaning to the show. And so I'm very intrigued in it. I kind of want to see how far they go and what other things they do. But this season, needless to say, of The Bachelor with Matt was nothing but suspenseful. It was honestly one of the best seasons I've watched in a very long time. It didn't turn out how I wanted it to, but things happen. That's life. But I feel like maybe one day, maybe in the future, him and Rachel can hash it out and they might be together. You never know. Sometimes that happens. But this by far was one of the best seasons I watched. And I think it's because he is such a down-to-earth person. He is a genuine person. He did make me a little upset during the final rose because I feel like when people wanted closure, they weren't given it. Oh, another thing that happened on the final rose, Michelle did come out as well and talk to him. And I guess after when Matt let her go, she just wanted 5 minutes of his time, not to persuade him, not to change his mind, but just to get the clarity on why he let her go. And I guess he decided that he didn't want to. And to me, that's a dick move. If tables were turned and you didn't have clarity, you'd want to be treated the same way with respect and get that clarity. So that kind of showed me a little different side. The final rose kind of showed me a little different side on Matt. So I'm a little wishy-washy about him, but the whole season with him and how he did treat the women during the season was phenomenal. He was always true to his word. He was always respectful. And I just feel like he doesn't do well with outside pressures, because I feel like if his mom didn't have so much hold on him about love, I mean, she basically said love is love. Love, isn't everything. That's basically what made him question if he was truly in love with these last two women. And I think that's kind of messed up, because you're already so long in this process. And I'm not saying if you're not in love, you're not in love, right? That's fine. But what I'm saying is you signed up for the show to find love, to get engaged and to be married and to start a life with someone. So it sucks that it ended this way, but it is what it is. Not everything turns out how you want to. I mean, Rachel got it, but in the long run, she didn't, due to different factors that happen in the relationship, and they just couldn't, Matt just didn't feel like he was obligated to be a part of that, and decided that it was best to part ways. Excuse me. So that is basically the last two episodes of The Bachelor. Like I said, the next season will be The Bachelorette, and it'll be Katie's season, and I'm super, super excited to see how that one turns out, because Katie is amazing. And it's well deserved for her. And I mean, if there's anything else you guys want to know about this season, we can leave it in the comments below, or you can ask me in Discord. I think this might be something that I might continue. I'm not 100% sure yet. See, and that Rosalind, you make a good point. That possibly might be it. You never know. Of course, they're not going to go out and tell you about that, but yeah. That as well. Yep, I feel like there's a lot of things like him talking to his dad was part of his baggage. I'm happy he was able to do that, but I don't feel like he sorry guys, give me a second. I just don't feel like that conversation went the way that Matt wanted it to, and so he didn't get the full. Sorry, my hair's a little crazy. He didn't get the full clarity and response he wanted to be able to move completely forward. I really think since he was raised in a single parent home, that has a huge thing about it. He's scared of continuing the cycle. Like, he doesn't want the cycle to continue to make the cycle go, which I completely understand. I've come from a single parent home too, and there's a cycle in my family that I'm hoping my kids and my sister's child can break. But it's really hard. It is really hard to deal with if you have baggage going into something. I mean, you can be as open-minded as you want in a situation, but if you have things that are going to hold you back that you haven't dealt with, that need to be dealt with, it's never going to be successful. So that might be another reason as well. I kind of wish when I watched the final rose, there wasn't a lot of talking about like the process of him deciding Rachel and whatnot. It was more so about the controversial topic about her dressing up and going to the antebellum, instead of what the focus is on those final rose. Final rose shows are for, if they make it, if they don't, they talk about it. But it was just like there was never really the story on what happened. about like why he picked her, why he didn't propose. And then after all that BS happened, like why did he just break it off? Like, I mean, there was a little bit of talking about why he broke it off, but you know, there was no really big start to like understanding how the relationship got where it was, and that's usually what the final rose is about. And so I was a little disappointed. I don't feel like they handled the final rose the way that they needed to. But like I said, since that topic has been very controversial, of course that's what they're going to address and focus on, which sucks because it takes away from the meaning of really what this show is about. But hey, it is what it is, right? But yeah, and the show is over. It's crazy. Like I feel like I just started doing these recaps and started watching it with a few of you guys in chat. It went by really fast. I guess when you have more people to watch it and you have a schedule and then you have days that you do your recap and you have a plan, it kind of goes by a little bit faster. But yeah, like I said, if you have any comments or you want to know more about the show or just have a discussion about it, you guys are welcome to leave your comments in below. And I am going to get off here. It's already 8 o'clock and I still need to figure out what is for supper. But yeah, I mean, sorry, it was kind of a lot of in one and kind of a little bit all over the place. Like I said, it's easier to keep everything in line when I do the recaps each week. But yeah, so I appreciate you all being here. Shout out to Gulf Coast Mama. I saw that you came in chat and I didn't call you out. Good to see ya. Good to see everyone in chat. Thank you for being here. I think the next thing that I'm going to talk about, I have a few things that I want to kind of go through and see and talk about, but I will let you guys know, and maybe I'll do a poll or something on the next topic because like I said, Bachelor doesn't start until the summer, so I have some time to talk about some other topics. If you have any suggestions, please leave them below in the comments as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit your notification bell, and I will see you all guys next time. Bye, everyone.